Alright, guys, so I'm back. I basically wanted to celebrate my birthday with someone very close to me. Fucking sue me, you know. But yeah. But I'm back, and we're going to be talking about Lady Machina, Volume 2, The Tablet of Destinies. Now, it has been a hot minute since I have talked about Lady Machina. This is another comic that my good friend Chris, thank you once again. He's the one who's been sending me these books. And yeah, for that, let's do a little, before we go any further, because it has been a hot minute since I have done a Lady Machina comic. I did the review of Volume 1, and Chris sent me the 2, 3, and 4 volumes. I think it used to be its own book, but now it's part of Image now. Like, the creator, it was under his own wing, and then he just went to Image. I really enjoyed the first volume. I thought it was I thought it was a pretty solid storyline. I thought it was a pretty solid the art, I think, really carried the story. Like, the artwork itself was a very it was vibrant. Like, the art alone, like, and I'm going to talk about this again, the artwork by Joe Benitez and Martin Mowell, and colors by Mark Garcia. The story is by M.M. Chen, and yeah, the story itself is kind of like an old, like, kind of what I was saying about the Five Ghosts comic, which, honestly, yeah, I need to get around to reading the final volume, the third volume so far, not the final, as I've learned. They just haven't, the writer hasn't created Volume 4 yet. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. It's very much like Five Ghosts in that Lady Machina is very much like a pulp adventure kind of comic. The best way I can describe Lady Machina is that it is a combination of Ghost in the Shell meets the Guy Ritchie, the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies, mixed with a lot of steampunk and a little bit of Indiana Jones in there. Like, how can you not like this series, like, just from that description alone, right? Like, how can you not love a description like that? Anyway, so this comic is basically all of that wrapped in one. But let's talk about the story of Volume 2. So and also, if you're wondering, you can kind of read these without any real order. Like, you can read Volumes 1 to, as far as I can tell, these are kind of very much, like I said, much like a pulp story. They're very self-contained. So you could honestly read Volumes 1 and 2 separately and still have a cohesive story. Anyway, so the story in this one is that a friend of Lady Machina has been, their grandfather has been kidnapped, and not only that, this young girl she's been watching over has been kidnapped as well by a German secret society, and now she has to go into the heart of Africa in order to stop them from finding a thing called the Tablet of Destinies, which is an ancient weapon that could rewrite all of humanity. The comic, like I said, it does have that Indiana Jones kind of feel. It also has a lot of, again, artwork is just amazing from the creative crew. It actually reminds me a lot of, like, a much cleaner version of... It reminds me like a much cleaner version of David Finch's artwork. Like, whereas Finch has a more muddier feel, this one has more of a feel of, hey, this artwork can be done... this artwork can be done in a more cleaner, kind of more vibrant panel. But you see, like, heavy inks and heavy sketches along the body edges, and everyone is very angular, very pointed, that kind of feel. The story itself is pretty solid. I do like Lady Machina just fighting left and right to protect this one little child, Winifred. And we do slowly learn more about this Tablet of Destinies, and we find out more about these Germans, which I say quote-unquote Germans, because it turns out they're not Germans at all, and what they're revealed to be at the end of the story make me go, alright, that's a little much, but I get it, like, you can see something like that, but I feel like it should have been established more rather than the last fucking part of the comic of this 6-issue miniseries, it just suddenly like it suddenly appears before, like, oh, that's what they are? What the fuck? Like it literally just changes out of nowhere to be this one thing, and it made me go, what? No, for real. That's what we're going with? Like, for real? Sure, okay. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because it's such a out of nowhere kind of reveal of what the villains really are. But yeah, the comic also feels like it has some pacing issues here and there, but I will forgive it because it does have some really solid just artwork, but at the same time there are just moments where it just kind of lags. I know the other comics are shorter and more to the point, so I'm curious to see what the other ones are like. Especially the next volume is only like 3 issues, I think. So maybe a tighter story could help, but I don't know. I've had this thing where I'm like, either comics drag on too much or do too little. But I did like the first volume. This does have some good things to it, and it's more of, it's kind of like I've been saying with Spawn, where it's pictures over story. But still. Anyway, I recommend it. If you are a fan of, Johnny Quest, Indiana Jones, those kind of stories, I do recommend it. So I will review the other volumes in the near future. But Chris, I know you're watching. Thank you again for this book. And yeah, if you guys have read Lady Machina, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.